So yesterday I went to the local large distributor and pro shop in the area, and I picked up a dozen gold tip ultralight pro 400 shafts. The pro version of the shaft is advertised to be plus or minus a thousandths on straightness, and I believe plus or minus half a grain on weight tolerance. So they were packaged in a sealed container. Obviously I had to snip the top to get them out. Also contain a warning sheet and some instructions on the back. Also appear to be weight coded somehow, I guess, so you can match them up from dozen to dozen anyhow. I think that's all kind of standard. So like I always do before I start prepping shafts is I throw them on a straightness tester just to see how they measure up. If you're wondering why it's reading 47 on the gauge right off the bat, let me zoom in here so you can see my gauge. The 47 is because dial indicators have a spring in them plus the weight of the shaft. It's going to deflect the shaft just a little bit. If I just bring the indicator down to where it just touches the top of the shaft, it's pretty much zeroed out. But then the weight of the shaft plus the spring tension is the deflection. So anyhow, it's deflected in about 46 thousandths. So I'm not really concerned about that. I'm just looking for straightness of the shaft. And as I spin this around, I can see 46, still 46, 46, 46. So this shaft is pretty much dead on. I'm not even seeing a half a thousandths variation in that shaft. I'll throw another one up here and see how it looks. Again, we're starting out, right around 45. 47, 46 and a half, 46, 47. So this shaft is still better than 2 thousandths total, so that's within the plus or minus 1 that's advertised. And that was typical for about 10 shafts as I went through and checked them all. I did run across one shaft though that seemed to be a little bit different. So I put that shaft on the straightness tester. First thing I noticed right off the bat is instead of reading 45, 46 on the indicator, it's reading 54. 54, 56, 56. So the shaft is really straight. It's just reading 10 thousandths different on the indicator. So my initial reaction is it must be a smaller diameter shaft. So I got my digital vernier calipers out, and I checked it, and I knew from experience that the shaft should be about 290, and it measures 291. And when I check it against all the other shafts, they also all measure 291. So there's something else going on. It's not the diameter of the shaft that's causing the indicator to read differently. So I'll put that shaft back up here again, and we'll just look at it again, 56. We'll set that one aside and just go to one of the other shafts. Now these shafts are advertised to be a 400 spine. So with the weight of the indicator, plus my pill bottle here filled with lead weights, come up to about 1.94 pounds at 28 inches. So that's basically what you're supposed to spine test at. And what we see is that this is about a 412 spine. It's advertised at 400. That's pretty close. I'm not sure how other manufacturers are on that, but I'm not overly concerned about that. What I'm really looking for is consistency in the spine, more so than an actual value. So we'll toss that aside, and let me just get one of the other shafts and throw it up here. And once again, we're right around 46 on the initial deflection, and then we add the additional weight, and we're coming up around 416. So between those two shafts, they're relatively consistent. Now we'll go back to this one particular shaft here that seemed to be a little bit different. And once again, we can see that it's got a much larger deflection right off the bat. And then we add the weight to it to get us up to the 2 pounds that you're actually supposed to spine test at. And we're looking at about a 480 spine. We'll turn it around here and see what we got in another quadrant. And now we got a 492 spine. And we'll turn it just a little bit farther, and 485 spine, and 482 spine. So Once again, this shaft is also, just like all the others, is an Ultralight Pro 400. It's the same thing as all the other shafts, and it just seems a little curious that this shaft is actually much closer to a 500 spine than it is a 400 spine. It's packaged the same. The Pro version costs $40 more than the standard ultralights. You would expect that you're getting a little bit better tolerance with that, but apparently that's not necessarily the case. So anyhow, I thought I would just document that and see if anybody else had a similar experience with their gold tips.